And we are live. Very good show for you today, folks. We really do. I need you to stick around. I know the show's probably going to run a little bit long. You're going to want to stick around for all of it. Everything we're going to talk about is extremely important, very interesting. You are really going to want to be here for this. Not only are we going to talk about tariffs, but we have several just major things going on at the same time. The level of stupidity in the Trump regime is off the charts, and a lot of it is just straight up dangerous. So let's dig into it. ET, my man, you're going to bail on us today? That's okay. That's okay. You're here all the time. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you being there. ET says, I have lots to do today, so love y'all. I also have just seen something about evil Popeye looking to run for Senate. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about today, my friend. A lot to talk about today. I want to be, I like to frame things to give you a point of reference so that you really understand how hard these things hit, just to put the taste in your mouth. One of the central themes, as you watch the show, for you new folks, as you watch this show, it was one of the central themes that we talk about is the sheer stupidity of the Republican Party. They are morons. I mean, not only is the Trump regime filled with idiots, but just Republicans in general tend to be morons. But there is so much important stuff going on right now, and there's so many things that they're just, just like bulls in a china shop that are blindfolded, brain dead, and still flopping around. And so let me tell you what, let me show you what I'm talking about here. This is the kind of idiocy that the Republicans are engaged in while we have all of these incredibly important things going on. We're talking tariffs. We're talking national security. I mean, we're talking massive problems on the research front involving neurodivergent diseases. Just tons of things that are going on that are really life-altering and important. And the Republicans are holding hearings on JFK. Not kidding. And not only are they holding hearings on JFK, they're being morons about it. So just to put the taste in your mouth for the rest of the show, to set the frame, I want to play this clip of Lauren Boebert at the JFK hearings. They brought in Oliver Stone, who made a fictional movie about JFK as a witness. Not intelligence experts, not sniper experts, no Oliver frickin' Stone. This is just a frickin' joke. Teresa, thank you for being here and supporting the show. I'm very glad to have you. New supporter, love that you were here. Here's old Lauren Boebert. This is gonna make your jaw drop.
Mr. Stone, you wrote a book accusing LBJ of being involved in the killing of President Kennedy. Did these most recent releases confirm or negate your initial charge? Being involved in the assassination of President Kennedy.
No, I didn't. In the film, if you look closely, there's no such statement. No, I didn't. If you
Yes,
look
sir.
closely at the film, there's no, it accuses the President Johnson
Okay.
of being part of a complicit in a cover-up of the case, but not in the assassination itself, which I don't know.
What do you think that he was complicit with? Yes, sir. I'll get to you.
The cover-up, well, how about, for starters, appointing Alan Dulles, the head of the CIA, who was fired by Kennedy, to the commission itself, to the Warren Commission. And he goes to almost every meeting, and he's pretty much in charge of the Warren Commission from the beginning. Alan Dulles. That's part of the evidence that points to President Johnson's either incompetence or involvement.
Mr. Morley, I think you had something to add on that.
I think you're confusing Mr. Oliver Stone with Mr. Roger Stone.
It yet.
Who?
Sorry.
It's Roger Stone who implicated LBJ in the assassination of the president. It's not my friend
Is that what all the
Oliver
whispers
Stone.
were there? I may have.
My freaking God. Yeah, it was Roger Stone that wrote that book, but dumbass doesn't know the difference between Oliver Stone, who made a fictional movie and has no business being a witness anyways, and Roger Stone, who just professionally throws bullshit out at the wall for attention. That's what they're doing with our tax money. That's who they are. That's how stupid they are. They don't know the difference between Roger Stone, who is one of their guys, and Oliver Stone, who is a fictional film director. Yeah. So put that taste in your mouth while we get ready for this. Randy Ryder, your truth is why we keep watching. You and Rachel Maddow are two of the most truthful, inspirational folks on the boob tube. Keep it up. You'll both lead, hopefully, us out of the dark. Thank you for being here. Huge support there, Randy. I appreciate you for always being here, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you. And to even mention my name in the same sentence as Rachel Maddow is a massive compliment. Thank you. Michael Z, my friend, wish I could say, but have to run. I'm still laughing at the 10% tariff on an island of penguins. Now that's more. Thanks for being here, Michael. I appreciate you always being here. Glad you could be here for the show opening. Folks, that's it. That is the Republican Party in general. They're just clowns. They're buffoons. They're idiots. They're incompetent. But it's not a joke. It's important. There are important things going on in the world right now, and these idiots are in charge. Idiot voters thought these people are, and we're going to talk about RFK here in a little bit. He is a stupid man's idea of what a smart person is. But we're going to actually talk about a smart person here in just a minute. But yeah, she doesn't know the difference between Roger Stone and Oliver Stone, has a staff to help her prepare these comments. We give her a staff. And this moron still sits and in front of cameras in a congressional hearing says stupid shit like that. That's the Republicans for you, man. That's just it in a nutshell. I saw that clip and I was like, yeah, that's a perfect example. Deborah Ann, thanks for being here. Texas Paul, thank you for digging into the stories behind the news and the stories not covered by the news. Folks, we are a community. This is what we do here. Thank you, Marcia, for always being here. Longtime supporter. Thank you for always being here. Exactly, Steve. Exactly. It's always made up crap. Phony baloney MAGA. That's what Steve says. But there are important things going on, folks. Really important. There's a storm terrorizing across the United States right now that is going to it's going to be hell all weekend long. Outside you notice I'm not as bright and cheery looking as I normally am, because outside my window, I don't have any bright sunlight coming in like I normally do, because it is dark as hell outside. These storms are still going on. We have 7 confirmed dead. We've got 33 million people. 33 million people under flood watches. We've had tornadoes in Missouri, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. And this death toll is going to rise, folks. That's just the 7 confirmed dead that we have so far. And FEMA, wholly unprepared. Completely and utterly unprepared for this storm season. They are literally not preparing because the billionaire oligarchs want a tax cut and they don't think FEMA is necessary. So FEMA is not filling the warehouses. FEMA is cutting staff. This is why I love you folks. 9 in Michigan too. Evie's aunt. Yeah, I mean, things like this are going on all over the place. But Donald Trump is golfing with the Saudis. Donald Trump takes a Molotov cocktail, opens up the door to our economy, chucks the Molotov cocktail in, allows his minions around him to destroy our government. We have storms raging across the United States, just the first set of storms of the season. You know, we've got an entire season ahead of us with no federal government left to respond to it. And Trump's golfing, hanging out with his Saudi buddies, golfing. We've also had this happen. I'm not going to let it go, folks. I told you, we are not going to let this go. SignalGate is just, it is earth-shattering for MAGA. We cannot let this go. This is just the perfect example. It's like Lauren Boebert, who doesn't know the difference between Roger Stone and Oliver Stone. SignalGate, again, just to remind folks, if we got new viewers here, maybe you don't know what's going on. We have our top officials in our Defense Department and intelligence operations using a free app that you can download it. A free app to communicate, to message on about our top secret war plans. And this just happened. Not going away, folks. Not going away. Pentagon IG IG's Inspector General, for you folks out there that may not know, launches investigation into Hexas involvement in SignalGate. Yep. Now, I'm not making a lot of promises. I'm not making a lot of promises on that one because we really don't know what this is. I mean, is this another Mueller report where they're creating this report just so that they can rewrite it and try to exonerate themselves? You know, bury the truth. Is this just we want to make this a case closed situation, so we're going to involve our IG and he's just going to declare we didn't do anything wrong when we all know they did? Or is this an attempt by the Trump regime to attack Jeffrey Goldberg over at the Atlantic? Because we don't know what Jeffrey Goldberg actually has in his possession. Is this that their way of legally attacking Jeffrey Goldberg for having classified material that he didn't ask for, that were just sent to him? You know, is this their way of trying to find out what he knows? We don't know. Or is it a legit investigation? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But I don't know about you, but I don't have faith in our government, and I damn sure don't have faith in the Trump regime. Brian Peachy, thanks for always being here, my friend. Longtime supporter. Good morning, all. The role of government is serious business, now run by a group of incompetent morons. Thank you, Brian. You're 100% spot on with that comment. 100%. Lonnie Johnson, thank you for being here and supporting the show. Thank you. He says, thanks, Texas Paul. Here's my monthly donation. Thanks for all you do. Hey, Kit, I appreciate you supporting the show. I really do. Can't do it without you folks. Cannot do it without you folks. Robin, no need to read my name. Okay. I'm going to read it anyways. Okay. But yeah, that's just happened. We got the IG has finally, they've opened up an investigation. Folks, and I want to tell you, folks, we've got a guest coming in at the bottom of the hour that's going to be an amazing guest. I'm really excited about this one. So you're really going to want to see this. You hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get as many people in here as we can watching. You're going to want to see this. We got a great guest coming in. It's going to make you feel better about a lot of this crap that we've got going on. This is one that just made me sick. It just made me sick. This is Dr. David Ewell. Or pardon me, Dr. Richard Ewell. David. I don't know where I get David from. This is Dr. Richard Ewell. You never heard of this guy. You don't know who he is. But he was life and death important to many of your old folks. Your moms, dads, grandma, grandpa. Dr. Richard Ewell just got the Breakthrough Award for his team's research into it's the Breakthrough Prize in Life Sciences. He got it about just a couple years ago for his work on neurodivergent diseases, more specifically Parkinson's disease. We had a real problem with understanding because, these are pretty much human only diseases. And there's limitations as to the research you can do on a human being. We don't have enough information as to what causes these. His research was groundbreaking. I mean, that I can't say it left. Groundbreaking doesn't really cover it. Imagine being in a dark room and someone walks in with a lantern. It is that different. It is that different. The research he's doing is that critically important. Specifically, he was awarded this prize for elucidating a quality control pathway that clears damaged mitochondria and thereby protects against Parkinson's disease. That was the specific reason for him receiving the Breakthrough Prize. The Breakthrough Prize is worth about $3 million, folks. This is a big deal. It's one of those things. It's like the Fields Medal in mathematics. Most people don't know what it is. It is just crazy. I mean, this guy, the work he's doing is so incredibly important. And we just fired him. He works at the National Institutes of Health. And Robert Kennedy just fired him. And not just him. Folks, this is just sickening. Vincent, thank you for being here, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for supporting the show. $20 is a lot of money, my friend. Lincoln, Donald Dump's seventh bankruptcy has come into fruition. Too bad he couldn't leave us out of this one. And he is golfing while 4 dead soldiers are getting zero recognition from a wannabe president. Amen, brother. I can't add anything to that. That is perfect. Jeff Schuler. Word is that there are at least 20 more Signal working groups that Mike Waltz set up. Yeah, there's way more to the SignalGate, and it ain't going away. So yeah, Dr. Richard Ewell is no longer employed at the National Institutes of Health, doing his groundbreaking research that is life or death for so many people. And it's not just him. It's not just him. From the transmitter, U.S. Health Agency purge includes 10 lab heads at National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke. The reasons for selecting these researchers who have led work on neuronal migration, dopamine receptors and neuronal signaling, and the structure of ion channels, among other areas, remains unclear. It may remain unclear, but I have some speculation there. There's two reasons that I can think of primarily for these people being fired. And I have to explain to you just how devastating this is. How devastating this is. These research projects that these lab heads run, they you cannot pause them. You are studying human beings. And if you stop studying them, you've put 10 years into following someone's progression and development and cataloging it and documenting it. You see them every 2 to 3 months and you document closely their progression. If you pause that for, I don't know, a year, that data becomes worthless. Worthless. Because you have no idea what happened between here and there. You're no longer controlling what they're exposed to. You're no longer controlling, are they getting their medication that you're prescribing them? You're no longer, the study is you wad it up, crumble it up, and you throw it in the trash. It is worthless. In some cases, it's decades of research that just stops. It's insanity. It is a stupid person's idea of a smart person, which is what people look at RFK and his bullshit conspiracy theories. If you ever listen to MAGA talk about RFK, it is painfully obvious. It is a stupid person's idea of what a smart person is. Making decisions about research and projects that are actually run by actual smart people who understand the relationship between your mitochondria and Parkinson's disease, which I do not. I don't even pretend to. You don't either. Contessa, thanks for being. Trump regime wants to get rid of undesirables, as they quote, undesirables. What they want to do, I told you, there are two things that I believe is behind this. Randy Oliver, they'll burn it all down to rule over the ashes. There are two things that I can think of. This is my personal opinion as to why I think they're doing it. One, Johnny Got Rocks wants a tax cut. And you can't have a tax cut for Johnny Got Rocks that means anything while you're still paying things like people like scientists. It is so Johnny Got Rocks, who writes checks to the Republican Party, can get his big ass tax cut. Because if they just give him the tax cut, it's like the first Trump regime where the Republicans took the hit. Nobody believes the Republicans are responsible on fiscal policy or taxes anymore because they're the ones that blew up our deficit. So they're trying to do it all again without blowing up the deficit. So they're going to just fire everybody they can as part of cutting costs, no matter what those costs represent. No matter how useful or important or incredibly, because Johnny Got Rocks wants his tax cut, man. He's not going to pay for those steaks in Merlot for no reason. I think that's reason number one. Kate Mary Light, someone with his brain issues shouldn't be firing scientists researching the brain. Amen. LB, thank you for being here. They were the Tea Party. We are the Coffee Party. Yep. And again, I hope you stick with me when it's no longer coffee with Texas Paul because of the tariffs. We can't afford coffee, and it becomes water with Texas Paul. But hey, that's where we're headed. I want to take a second. I hope you noticed the beautiful painting behind me. You folks are always so kind and so generous, and it blows my mind. I want you to imagine what it's like to go down to your P.O. box, you open it up, and something like that is in it. Someone took their time to paint that for me One of our, I won't give the name. They didn't give me permission in their letter to say their name, so I won't say it. But that is an absolutely stunning painting. I'm going to have it framed. I have a print that I'm sending down to be framed that you folks sent. The generosity is incredible, and it's just it's heartwarming. And I wanted to let you know, yes, I got it. Yes, it's safe. It's in perfect condition. Thank you. Contessa Hood, Johnny Gotrocks believes in the master race. Yeah, they do. Them. That's who they think is the master race. Well said, sir. Well said. And thank you for the dates, by the way. Someone mailed me dates. Don't do that anymore, people. Don't do that anymore. I have talked to, I've got friends that are special agents. I've got friends that are lawyers. I've got friends that tell me, and everybody was screaming, don't eat them dates. Don't. You can't just eat fresh food someone mails to you because, folks, I get death threats, man. You know what I mean? So don't do that anymore. I ate those dates, by the way. They were delicious. They were delicious. The ones I get at Sam's are really dry, like they've been stored for a long time. Those were really, really freaking good. And yes, against my wife's wishes and my good friend special agent's wishes, no, I didn't. I ate them anyways. They were delicious. I did. Newest Bill, thank you. Thank you for the support. But please don't mail fruit to me and things like that. You're so kind and so generous. Really, really. I mean, it is really touching. But let me get back to what we were talking about. So in addition to lab heads, they've also fired just general labor, lab techs, IT, human resources personnel, investigators, people that are heading the programs that we have to document HIV and how we're doing on the treatment of, I don't know if you know this, folks, but we've made amazing gains in the treatment of HIV. We now have drugs out there that can, once you're exposed to HIV, it's like Hep C, you never get rid of it, but they can actually diminish it in your body to the point where it is imperceptible on even our modern testing. I mean, the gains that we have made have been incredible. And they're firing them all. Everybody that's responsible for it, they're firing them all. But I do have a theory as to why. That prize that I was telling you about that he won, guess who funds that? The tech bros. The Breakthrough Prize is funded by the tech bros, one of which Elon Musk. Elon Musk was at the event in which Dr. Yule received his award. And why would people that are getting involved in your healthcare, I don't know, want to fire a bunch of people that are doing the research for the government, which nobody can own and profit off of? Why would a bunch of tech bros, the Broligarch billionaires, I don't know, want to fire all those people? Maybe so they can hire them themselves? Maybe they can control it? Because that's what's going on. Not just private industry, but other governments, other universities. We have an American brain drain going on right now. See, if you're a blue collar bro and you're just working, man, you're kind of stuck here. You are. But if you're brilliant and you're doing life-changing work, man, you got options. You got options. You can live in just about any beautiful city you want to live in. And they are poaching our scientists. So yeah, don't feel bad for Dr. Richard Ewell? Because he's going to leave the National Institutes of Health and he's going to probably end up working in a beautiful city in Europe somewhere and have a great life. We're just not going to benefit from his work. That is the kind of thing that is just sickening. That's the kind of thing that is just heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. And that is not all that is going on. This next one just makes my brain hurt. Just makes my brain hurt. But before we get into it, we've got a special guest that's coming. His time is incredibly valuable, and I appreciate him sharing it with us. I hope he's patient with me. I want to introduce him, give him a proper introduction. Before I do, I want to tell you this is not our guest. This is Joe Crowley. Okay. This is Joe Crowley. Most of you don't even know who Joe Crowley is, probably didn't know who he was. He is one of the most powerful politicians in Washington, D.C. And I say is, not was. Even though back in 2018, he lost his re-election. Spectacular. It was shocking. Joe Crowley was heir apparent to what Hakeem Jeffries has the job Joe Crowley was about to take over. That's how powerful a politician he was. It actually is, because Joe Crowley is still working in DC. He is working for the largest law firm in the world. Literally, he's the senior policy director at Denton's. And you've probably never heard of Denton's before, because I'm thinking we don't have that many billionaires in our community, in our audience. Yeah, he's still incredibly powerful, but he was beaten by a young upstart. Somebody said, "Nah, she ain't got a chance, not a chance." And she said, "Watch me." And she went out there and she busted her ass. She knocked on every damn door in her district. She put in the work. She talked to the people. And Joe Crowley was in D.C. It was a foregone decision to him. I'm super powerful. I got this. And he didn't listen to the people. And the people were pissed. And the people elected Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And the reason I'm telling you this story is our next guest did exactly that. We had an establishment candidate that the Texas Democratic Party and the National Party and the Johnny Got Rocks around here that contribute to the Democratic Party decided they wanted. This was somebody that had power, that had connections, that took it for granted. And our next guest, who's been on the show before, who's a friend of mine, great guy, beat them. And he beat them by doing the work, by going out to every county in Texas and talking to the people and listening to what they have to say. So without wasting any more of his time, his incredibly valuable time, because I would like to introduce to you the actual chairman of the Texas Democratic Party, my friend, Kendall Scudder.
Thanks for having me, Texas Paul.
Get
I
it, man?
appreciate it. Man, chairman's got a good ring to it.
Yeah, no. Oh my God, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I squealed like a little girl when the results came out. I did, man. I did. Way to go, brother. Way to go.
It's a new day in the Texas Democratic Party. We now have a progressive millennial chair that's ready to organize in every corner of this state. And, I was only able to get this accomplished because we had some great members of the State Democratic Executive Committee that were willing to buck the system. And it's just a great honor to have the opportunity to lead the party. It's kind of like drinking through a fire hose right now. But, I think we just don't have any time to waste. So I've been doing 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. days every day since last Saturday, and we're just piling forward. So,
I bet. And I bet it is like drinking from a fire hose right now. And I'm incredibly touched that you're taking the time. I know how busy you are right now. I mean, just the
course I'm
transition, the take of,
Of course I'm coming on Texas Paul. Of course I am.
I appreciate you being here. I really do. Folks, I just want to stress to you what Kendall's message was really simple. We're going to fight it out. We are. We're not gonna do what the advisors have always said in Austin. Go after the cities and this and we just kind of ceded. Folks, Kendall and I were in Upshur County together. Upshur County. That I can't stress to you what that means as a Democrat to actually have someone out here from anyways, I'm tongue-tied, man. I'm tongue-tied. But Kendall, you're here about fighting it out. No free rides for Republicans, man. Just tell the people what your plan is, what you're wanting to do here, what your vision for the state of Texas is. Lay it on them, my man.
Well, look, I mean, you were mostly right there, Paul, but I'm going to correct you a little bit. These cities need some love too, right? I mean, as a party, we've not necessarily done what a lot of grassroots activists all across the state, whether they're urban, suburban, or rural, have wanted from us. And so how do we recalibrate that to move forward? To me, obviously, we have some like administrative stuff that people aren't particularly interested in to fix, but it starts with building a grassroots movement in every corner of this state. There are 40 mid-sized cities in Texas that have over 100,000 people in them. And if they were in any other state, they'd be the population center. But because it's Texas, they tend to get overlooked and we call them rural. But I'm sorry, Amarillo, Lubbock, those aren't rural towns. They have Amarillo has 200,000 people in it. Tyler, Abilene, like these are places that it should be a baseline that we are active and present there and that we have operations running there. There should be discussion about why aren't the Democrats going to places like Loving County, not why aren't they going to places that have hundreds of thousands of people in them. And so to me, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. It's going to take time to get there. But there's 4,500 vacant precinct chairs in the state of Texas out of 9,000. That's half. There's 55 vacant county chairs in Texas. That's over 20%. So 20% of Texas counties don't even have a party there. And so our obligation is to go start building that apparatus and that infrastructure around the state, number one. Number two is that we don't let Republicans lead us around and tell us what to talk about anymore. We're going to talk about the issues that are facing everyday Texans, right? Life is hard, okay? Insurance rates are through the roof. It's hard. You can't afford your rent that you have to pay because you couldn't afford your home because the interest rates were too high. Groceries are expensive. You can't put cleats on your kiddo anymore. And so we're going to talk about issues that impact every single person in this state to make sure that they know that these Republican policies that in just 2 months have cratered the American economy. They've just passed in these tariffs the largest tax increase on middle-class families in my lifetime. And this is the moment for people to see what happens when billionaires run our government versus what happens when you have working people that are sitting at the helm fighting for the proletariat, fighting for us. And I'm ready to move forward.
I'm excited. I am really excited. And for you non-Texas people, he mentioned Loving County. If you live in Texas, okay, you can stand on one side of Loving County and you can walk across it to the other side. And you can do that about 6 times from just about any direction you want and never see another human being.
Yeah, I'm Loving County. Of Loving County. I don't have the population. Yeah. 43 people live in Loving County.
And it's the size of like Omaha. You know what I mean? It's a big county, but there ain't nobody there. But yeah, I mean, for places like Tyler, places like you said, Lubbock, Amarillo, there are, we call them towns here in Texas because we're a big freaking state, but they have little to no representation from the Democratic Party. So what I've been doing is I have been screaming to anybody that will listen, Kendall, and I wish you could expand on this. Everybody's like, what can we do? And I always say, step one, get involved with your local Democratic Party. You have no idea how critical that is, how ground changing that is. They have broligarchs that are paying for robocalls. They've got broligarchs that are just drowning us in money. You showing up at your local Democratic Party, like you said, how many was it? 38 chairs that we have to fill, or how many chairs was it? 55. Damn. I'm failing you, brother. I'm failing you.
Well, no,
55 chairs we got to fill.
But you make a really
Do
good,
it.
You make a good point, and I hate. Here I am. I now I'm elected and have to be this hack who says this, but they've got the broligarchs and we've got you. And so if folks could go to txdem.co/new-era-TDP, $5 a month, $10 a month, it's going to change the world for us. Because here's what people I don't think understand about Texas. Everybody's like, they're always talking about trying to flip Texas and it never comes through. Let me explain to you why it never comes through. Okay. Texas is uniquely expensive compared to other states. We have more than 20 media markets that you have to play in. Okay. Literally El Paso is closer to Los Angeles than it is to Beaumont. It is a gigantic organization. So even when you have a TDP that has 20, 30 staff, you're lucky if you have one per media market. Right. So Texas is uniquely expensive, and we have all of these giant billionaires that are kind of energy guys out in Midland and Odessa and in West Texas who, no joke, will write a $5 million check to the Democrat or to the Republicans. OK, yeah. Like Greg Abbott accepted a $5 million donation from one mega billionaire guy. And that's why he's pushing his voucher plans. And so all we can do is try to get as many people as we can.
Tim Dunn. You got to be talking about Tim. Ferris Wilkes or Tim Dunn. One of the two is who you're talking about. Let's put names on those people. That's what you're, folks. And I know he's talking to you about money. And like, well, the Democrats always want money from us. But there's a difference, folks. Who is spending it makes a difference. The guy, the person that Kendall Scudder beat was old Texas Democrat. Let's focus on the big cities. That's what the advisors say. That's where our voters are. That's where all that money goes. No, that is not what Kendall Scudder represents. We're talking about fighting it out everywhere because we are, Kendall, my district, our number one industry is healthcare. Healthcare. I'm in the middle of a forest and an oil field, both. It is a forest growing out of an oil field. And our number one industry is not timber. It is not oil. Even though it used to be oil back in the day. I can show you pictures back in the day of oil derricks all over. It was filthy, but you know what I mean? It was huge. It's healthcare. You cannot grow an economy when your number one industry is a net cost, not a producer. And that's what healthcare. God love you, nurses. God love you, doctors. God love you, hospitals. God love you all. We will fight to keep you as good as we can possibly keep you. But you cannot be our number one industry. You can't.
Well, it should. Healthcare should be a service, not a like monetized industry. I mean, it's working people are just getting consistently screwed by that system. I'll say one more thing about money and then we'll stop talking about it because I know that's not what everybody wants to listen to. But, when you're the progressive millennial chair of the party, a lot of people are looking at us and trying to figure out whether or not this can work. And it can't work if people don't have my back on it. And so, that's what we're doing is we're just going to people and leveling with them. It's like we're the dog that caught the car now, and it's time for us to get going. Yeah. And if we want to do it, we've got to have resources to make it happen. And so I would appreciate any support. But let's talk about other stuff. Everybody doesn't want to hear about money all the time.
Can I throw something out there real quick before we because I agree with you. Nobody likes to hear about people getting in their wallet. But this is a little bit of a different community here, Kendall. They would rather hear the truth, even if it's something they don't want to hear. They would rather hear that and act on it and know about it than they would just be bulls, give them the mushroom treatment. You know what I mean? They don't like that. The truth is, folks, we get the shit kicked out of us in both people and money. The Republicans use the churches. The churches act as a de facto labor force for the Republican Party in this state. They do. We have work to do fighting for the folks in the churches. We really do. We're working on that. We're doing it. But folks, when they say, oh, well, Kamala Harris outraised Donald Trump. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She did in legal campaign donations, but the money spent, hell, Elon Musk alone spent more than $250 million. Just one man. It is raining bombs here in this state from guys like Tim Dunn and Ferris Wills. They write these checks that are, so many freaking zeros, just like you got to count them to make sure, okay, yeah, that's 5 million, not 50 million. Folks, so when we say, look, you're it, I need you involved in the local Democratic Party, we mean it. That's what changes the world. It changes the world.
And what some people don't realize about some of that is, Kamala Harris raised $1.5 billion, but that money went to Kamala Harris, So when the elections end, the party is still here. And we're trying to figure out how to do this year-round organizing, how do you accomplish all of that? But that money didn't go to us. We didn't get to save any of it. So we're just fighting to keep the lights on. We're fighting to keep the staff paid. And then it stops our ability to do these giant programs. That's why I always advise everybody, if you're going to give monthly, give to your local county party, then give to your local state party. And then let's start looking at candidates if there's opportunities that are available to you, because we've got to build this network and this infrastructure, because we're just so far behind where the Republicans are, because they just had the money to get it accomplished. So anyways, I appreciate
and to buy you some credibility there, when Kendall Scudder says give to your local party, that ain't him. That's here. He's up here. He's not, you know what I mean? You're talking, he's asking you to get involved locally. That does not go into his organization's coffers. That is it's just recognizing that we've got to do this, man. We've got to do this. And I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier. What was this you were talking about? You had a subject you really wanted to talk about, and I did the horrible thing of interrupting you. I apologize.
Oh, no, you didn't. I don't even remember what it was at this point. So how important could it have been? Yeah. No, here's what I'll say. I think that right now, all across the state, what we're seeing are Democrats that are itching for anything, something. Please, Democrats, lead. Tell us what to do. And that's what we're trying to do right now. So we have a year-round organizing director that we very recently brought onto the party that we intend on kind of keeping there. And so I think other states around the country are doing the same thing. So if you're able to get involved, sometimes those local counties, we talked about this last time I was on Texas, Paul, they sometimes they're a little stale because they're just the folks that have been trying to keep this going for years and they're exhausted. And so my advice is just hop in, check your imposter syndrome at the door. Everybody can get this accomplished, and let's roll up our sleeves and try to figure out how to get good shit done. And I trust that a lot of these activists can bring a lot of lifeblood into this organization. Because if you want the party to fight back, spoiler alert, you're the party. So get to fighting.
Amen, brother. Amen. Amen. And I want to, since I've got you, everybody's going to throw something at you and say, this is my wish list.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one at you. Just like we talked about at the last meeting we were at with, we got Winifred Jackson out here slugging it out. Who was exactly like you're talking about, has been keeping the lights on and things moving. You got Hector Garza down in Tyler. You got Larry Davis over in Hunt County. These guys are busted ass keeping things going. But as far as just general fundraising and outreach, they're somewhat limited in their skills and their organizational ability.
Right.
Something coming, not just money coming out of Austin, the skill set, how to do a cookout, how to get people together, how to get the locals doing it themselves. Just like I said, man, we're like, you were being very, I don't know if I should share this or not, but you were being very blunt about how in Austin, they're like, screw us out here in the woods. And they're like, and I'm like, well, screw it. We'll do it our damn selves.
That's right.
Skills on how to do it our damn selves would be great.
it's hard to figure out how to prioritize things, right? So for me, here's kind of where my head's at. And if people have different opinions of it, reach out, let me know. But to me, I think the number one thing that you do, you've probably heard the saying, you can't put a sack of flour in the oven and expect it to make biscuits, right? You've got a lot of steps in between you got to get accomplished. And so the first thing to me is onboarding, where every precinct chair, county chair, SDEC member gets some level of basic training that says, here's what your expectations are. Here's what your resources are. Here's where the bathrooms are. Here's what the company culture is. And because we've never done that. And so a lot of people don't even know what to do. So we're working behind the scenes right now. We're building that. We're about to roll that out as soon as we can so that at least all the grassroots warriors across the state will get some level of onboarding on how to do those things. But then the next thing is we have to kind of financially prioritize things because the party's not in. I mean, a lot of people hear the Texas Democratic Party and they hear a giant apparatus. They assume we've got $10, $20 million. In a cycle where we're lucky, we might have two. And how do you keep 20, 30, 40 staff members employed with that? I mean, like we're on shoestring budgets here. And so in a world where people start to say, well, you know what? When people have needed money, Texas has come through for them. Whenever you have swing races in Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota, you look at their lists and most of their money or a lot of their money's coming out of Texas. We've been there for everybody else. And now we're kind of asking if we can get everybody in the country to start caring enough to kick us $5, if you like the work that we're doing and you'd be willing to buy me a beer, right, and kick us $5, then we can start to build an apparatus where we can start financially resourcing people like that. But I can't financially resource people like that until I have a Spanish language comms department, because in Texas, 30% of Texans speak Spanish at home. And when you have more than 50% of the population that is Hispanic, and we have no outreach on Spanish language media because we can't afford a Spanish language press secretary, that's a problem. And I've got to be able to figure out how to build these departments so that we're rethinking what we've always done. Because if you've got 51% of Texans that are Hispanic, our populations that we have in the state of voting that actually show up is in the low 20% because we aren't talking to them. And so, that's part of the role of chairman is figuring out how are we prioritizing. And so, yes, I'm just leveling with you. You said you want us to level. I think it's important to resource those people. It would cost me $250,000 just to give every county in the state $1,000. So it's very expensive. But yeah, I think you're on the money. They need help, and not everything is money. Some of it's training and putting those things in the ground. So we're moving on the training front. We're going to get this organization lean and efficient and nimble. And then we're going to focus on these big priorities that have been overlooked for years. Once that is set, I think we're in a position to start looking at how are we specifically financing and resourcing on the ground, and how are we putting constituency services in place so that we're outreaching in Black communities around the state, not just during elections, but building relationships in faith communities and business communities. How are we as a party reaching out to AAPI folks? People don't realize in Texas, huge numbers, especially in the suburbs of places like Collin County and Fort Bend County and Williamson County. And so we don't have any outreach there. And so we've got a lot to build. We're going from the ground up, and I'm excited to get to work. I hope people trust me to be kind of the grassroots leader to get scrappy and make it nimble and get it done.
Well, and I tell you something that I'm working on personally to try to help you out there is as Democrats, we get a lot of activist movements. We do. And they're exciting for some people. But the problem is a lot of times the misinformation they put out is just as bad as the misinformation that our opponents put out. Folks, I've said this before. You know this. If every car in our country stopped burning gasoline today, we would still need 40% of the oil that we pull out of the ground just for manufacturing, just for products. You want paint on that car? You need oil to get there. You do. Okay. The Democratic Party, we need a major outreach with these oil companies because I got to tell you, the Republicans have been really fantastic about making the Democratic messaging about our most extreme activists instead of the reality of the fact is we're Texas. Your oil comes from us. The largest oil field in the United States right now is in West Texas. It still is. There are folks out in Odessa, Permian Basin. They are pumping your oil. That's West Texas Intermediate crude, folks. That's what we refine here. All of your feedstocks, all of the stuff that goes into everything from your fertilizer to your plastics to the computer screen you're looking at, something comes out of the Permian Basin to make that happen. And we've got to quit alienating those folks that have to do business. They do. They've got to pull it out of the ground. They've got to refine it. And everybody watching this wants it. So we have to be willing to outreach as a Democratic Party and not get killed by our own voters for doing it. And that's what I'm working on here.
I might break with you just a little bit here just to say that, yes, we certainly need to do outwork, and the working people that are working in those oil fields and landmen and those, absolutely outreach there. But these giant oil companies don't get to walk in the door and tell us what to do. We're a party that fights for people, not for corporations. And I have a policy in my life that you're always welcome at the table as long as you respect everyone that's sitting at it, right? And we have environmentalists sitting at our table. And it's important that people respect that as well. But absolutely, we're not in a position to play subtraction. We got to play addition. And how do we do that where we're all kind of moving in the right direction?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
I saw a question come across that screen I want to make sure to answer where they asked, what's the plan for the May municipal elections? Great question. Today is day number 5 for me. So what we're trying to do is figure out where the party can fit in. We can't do all things for everyone. Our voter protection team is still operable, 844-TX votes if people have issues. And we staff that with attorneys to make sure that people are there to help if you're getting turned away at the ballot box or if you have issues curing ballots. So the state party will be there for that. Our data team is currently operating right now. We've issued more access accounts to our voter file in this municipal than we ever have. And so that means that those are people not only putting data in, but that are benefiting from the data that we've invested in. We don't always brag about our data team quite like we should because it's not as sexy as everybody wants it to be. But the Texas Democratic Party has one of the best data teams in the country. Does that mean our data is always perfect and great? Of course it doesn't. But we have a team that like literally the DNC calls for advice. And they're working right now to try to make sure that we have high quality scoring and data. And so if you're trying to work on a municipal level, if you're in a municipal organization and you need that municipal data put into our voter file, our team's there to work with you to help you walk through how to accomplish that. Having that baseline there is really important. So those are 2 really important pieces. The next one is I have already made a commitment, and I'm going to be loud about this. As we get into this municipal race, like right now, the first week or 2 of my chairmanship, I'm going to be trying to do some administrative restacking, but I plan on being on the field knocking on doors with you in what I describe as linchpin seats where if we flip this one city council seat, it will flip the entire council. We have linchpin seats around the state right now. Some of them are ones we're happy to talk about publicly. Others are ones where maybe it's best in a really conservative community that we don't. And that we just let our candidates do their thing. But we are watching several linchpin seats around the state where I'm going to be in those communities rallying where they want me there and staying away from them where they don't and trying to be a good partner. Because our interest right now is winning elections and building political power so that we can make changes in people's lives. And so even though it's only day number 5, we're cranking forward.
Brother, I know you are incredibly busy. I know what you're going through right now, my friend. And for you to take 30 minutes to sit with us and of your time is incredible. I will always be grateful. If there's anything you ever need me to do, anything at all, you call. You've got my number. You've got my.
I'm going to ask you for a favor publicly right now to put you on the spot.
Okay.
I want to create a Texas Creators Council. Will you join us?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I'm trying to do that on a national level too. You bet, man. Well, let's make it work here so that the national Democrats can see how effective it is. I'm with you, brother.
That's the good thing about having millennials. We understand alternative media, and we want to be able to build that. So thanks for committing to that. And we're going to start getting people put on it and amplifying our message around the state. Thank you so much for having me. Anything that we can be Democratic Party, know we're here for you.
Folks, Kendall's serious. He needs your help. I mean, none of this, you know me, I'm as blunt as can be. None of this shit is free. We gotta do it. We gotta be, and nobody's coming to save us but us. So let's do it. Get involved with your local party. Help out where you can. Kendall, I appreciate you, my friend, and congratulations. I really did squeal like a little girl, man. I was so excited.
Me too.
Folks, Kendall put in the work. I bet Kendall put in the work. He is the living example that if you get your ass out there, you talk to folks, even out in rural counties, where you think it is, you do the work, you can win.
And not only did we win, we won an 8-way race on the first ballot round. We did great. So thank you so much, Paul. I got to dip off to the next one, but we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you, Kendall. Harvey Linda, please help us get through this shit. Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing. And I'm telling you, it's a new day. It's a new day. You folks keep saying, look, we need young faces. We need new people. We need fighters. That's what we're doing. I'm not on social media whining about that shit. I'm doing everything I can to help guys like Kendall get it done. And that's what our community needs to be doing. So Metaficata, I agree. We need a year-long activity to educate and interact on every level. Resources are more than money. We need interaction and access to usable data. Bingo. Great comment. And I want to clarify because, kudos to Kendall for calling me out on that. Yes, we do need environmentalists. We do need people looking out for our environment. But what we don't need is we need to stick to reality. We need to stick to the fact that, yeah, we want a clean, environmentally friendly oil industry as best we can do, but we need them. Right now, I promise you, Michael Creighton was a candidate I supported. He was a Mobil Exxon. He was an Exxon Mobil executive. Served in the military. Was a colonel. Was an Exxon Mobil executive running down south in Texas. I supported him 100% because he understands these oil companies are not the evil people that you think they are. They just aren't. What they're concerned about is making money. That's what they care about. They want to make money. Why? That's their freaking job. And the way they figured out to make money is to pull oil out of the ground, refine it, and sell it. And if they think our purpose in life is to prevent them from doing that, of course they're going to oppose us. Of course, they're not going to listen to us when we say, look, please let us help you do this cleaner. That conversation is over. I love activism. I do. I love that it gets people excited. I do. But we have to understand, folks, we have a timber industry working in my area. The voice within the Democratic Party that everybody hears can't be the freaking hippie that goes out and spikes trees. If you don't know what tree spiking is, you've got people that believe trees are so sacred they drive metal spikes into trees, and they've gotten to the point where the lumberjacks in the mills can't see where the spikes are. So you got a guy running a saw, cutting up timber that you want, that gets injured because of a spike in the tree. Those can't be the voices in our party. Not the loudest ones anyways. You want to hug trees? Great. I do too. I love my forest. But there are companies out there working to get you your timber, and they're working to get, I'll post some pictures on my social media. There are some properties around here where there are pine trees planted, like this far apart, one right after the other, that are just growing straight up. Some of them in the middle will die out, and then you'll end up with these huge, tall, straight pine trees that the timber company planted here. They're a local variety of pine, and they planted them across an entire property because they're trying to do the responsible thing, so that we don't just do what they're doing in the damn Amazon where they're just clear cutting. Folks, we've got to work. We've got to work with these corporations, and we have to work with the environmentalists to keep our environment clean. We cannot be an extremist party. We cannot let the Republicans control our messaging and make us the extremist party. So I will always get out there. I know there's a lot. It turns a lot of people off when I go on these tangents, and kudos to Kendall for keeping me in my place when I go off on one of these rants. Kudos to him, man, for reminding everybody who we represent, the people, not the corporations. But if we make the corporations the sole purview of Republicans, we lose. We lose. Because they've got more money than Jesus. Ah, man, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. What a great guest. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Don't talk about it, be about it. You got guys like Kendall Scudder out there that are being about it. That guy's working his ass off. I am telling you, that guy, the conversation we had prepping for this show was at 11 o'clock at night, because that guy is working every waking hour. You got good people out there doing it, man. We're not done by a damn sight. I know the 2025 project, they are really trying to make people feel hopeless. They're really trying to make people feel beaten. We are not beaten by a damn sight. We are winning. We are winning. We are. Look at this last election and those numbers. We are on the right track. Yes, we took a drubbing. We got a wake-up call. Sometimes you need to have a foot put in your ass to wake up. But we're going, man. We're doing it. Gail Brownell, yesterday our county Dems hosted two SD state Dems to our local weekly coffee. A lot of good things coming, including town halls and ideas to get kids involved. Amen. And a great comment. I'm just going to leave it with this. When I started messaging, and I beat this to death, about getting involved with your local Democratic Party, that wasn't willy-nilly. It really is something massively, ground-changingly important that you can do. Doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't. You'll get a lot of people that are, like I said, that are social media whiners that'll hear that and they'll just, no, really, that changes the world. And we have to, because of stuff like this. Y'all remember Looney Loomer? Looney Loomer with her Mar-a-Lago face. That's a thing now, by the way. That is a term in cosmetic surgery. Mar-a-Lago face. No, she didn't normally look like that. She's, massive lip injections and Botox to the extreme and all that. They call that Mar-a-Lago face now. Y'all may remember from the election, the Trump regime totally denying that there was any relationship between Looney Loomer and Donald Trump. Thank you for being here, JD. I appreciate the support, man. I really do. Every dollar counts. You keep the lights on around here. But yeah, it was kind of obvious. It was kind of obvious that there was something going on there, something weird. They totally denied it, but there was way too much close, personal, touchy, kind of gross, nasty stuff going on with Looney Loomer and Trump. And the Trump campaign tried to convince everybody, no way. No, Looney Loomer's not going to be here anymore. You're not going to see her anymore. They said, oh, bullshit. It's happening, folks. Mr. Knudsen, thank you for being here, part of our international audience. Looney is now the recruiter. Amen. I love that y'all folks know. I love that y'all folks know what's going on. And y'all remember Mike Waltz. We just had the election in Florida that we significantly changed. Florida Sticks, he used to be the congressman there. Now he is Trump's national security advisor. Well, Mike Waltz and Looney Loomer and Donald Trump sat down in a 30-minute meeting in the White House. Yeah, Looney Loomer was in the White House. She walked in with a stack of documents that, from what I understand, people are telling me read much better in their original Russian. and put a bullseye on several members of our intelligence apparatus that Pooty Poot would like fired. Yeah. She spins it as, well, they're not loyal enough to Trump. But I promise you, these are people that and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll bring my receipts. These are people Pooty Poot wanted fired. And to give you an idea of just how screwed Mike Waltz is as National Security Advisor, he took the opposite. He argued against it. He said, no, you can't fire these people. These are effective people. These are people working in our national security apparatus that are important. Who do you think Trump went with? Thank you for being here, Chris. I appreciate 3 cheers for Corey. Appreciate you being here, my friend. I'm truly grateful. I am truly grateful. Who do you think that Donald Trump went with? Mrs. Touchy-Feely? Or Mike Waltz? Yeah. He went with Looney Loomer. He fired 6 people on the spot and then 2 more today. Important, critical people. Including the head of the National Security Agency, the NSA. Just a little background, if you don't know, there's human intelligence, and then there's SIGINT, signals intelligence. Back during the Cold War, the United States and Russia went 2 different directions on what our priorities were. We believed in our technology, and we went deeply and heavily into signals intelligence. And we created this big, beautiful National Security Administration, not just the NSA, folks. Talking about Cyber Command, we're talking about if you take data and put it into an electronic device, we can get a hold of it. That's what we focused on. Analysis, that kind of thing. The Russians focused on human. The stuff spy movies are made out of, spies in the field, honeypots, recruitment. Well, it's looking like the Russians won. It is. If you look at the Republican Party today, it's looking like we made a mistake. And it's looking like the Russians won. Because we are firing people like General Timothy Haw. This is General Timothy Haw. He was the head of the NSA, 4-star general. Cyber intelligence is his career. But Looney Loomer walked in with her Russia list, and he got fired. He got fired. They're firing the professionals that are supporting, and not just him. This is one that the corporate media isn't really going to talk about. This is Wendy Noble. This is his deputy. Hall was the 4th head of U.S. Cyber Command and the 19th director of the National Security Administration. Gone. His assistant, his number 2, not his assistant, but his number 2, his deputy director, was Wendy Noble. And I've got to tell you, folks, this was not Haw came in and just brought his people and yada yada. That whole story. That's not what it was. Wendy Noble was the shit. When it comes to spooks and spying, this is what she's done. Folks, she started her career in like 1980, I want to say 1987 in cryptologics. When it comes to spying, yeah, she's badass. When it comes to what the NSA's job is, this has been her life. And don't stress about her, the fact that she just got fired. Believe me, tomorrow, she's going to have a job making 20 times what she made at the NSA. Kind of like we talked about old Joe Crowley, you know, and yeah, he's still making bank. He's still important. She's not going anywhere. She's just not doing her job for us anymore. She'll be doing it for some private corporation. Yeah. Yeah. That's the kind of stupidity. That's why I played the Lauren Boebert video in the beginning of the show. Will the real Lord Lumber please stand up? That's great, Diane Kenyon. I appreciate you. Folks, I appreciate all the support. I really do. I appreciate your generosity. I cannot literally do this without you. I can't. Mr. Knudsen, again, thank you for the support. Trump is firing anyone that is competent or ethical. He only values sycophants. I'm sorry, America, for you're all in for a world of hurt and incompetence. Amen, brother. And that is too damn true. That is too damn true. But yeah, Wendy Noble here, she is the bomb. I can't stress it to you enough. This has been her entire career. I'm talking since the 80s. This spook bullshit, this spy bullshit, the real stuff, not the stuff you see in movies, the stuff where, you know, you've got buildings and analyzing data and you can really know what your enemy's planning and doing, where they're traveling, and all of that data that gets tracked and crunched and isn't sexy. That has been her life. And she used to do it for us. Tomorrow, for 20 times what she's making today, she'll be doing it for a private corporation. Yeah, that's really happening. And they're holding hearings about JFK with morons like Lauren Boebert who can't tell the difference between Roger Stone and Oliver Stone, who has no business testifying anyways. Peter Campbell says the Dow's down 3.3%, 1,335 points. Yeah, I was looking at the futures. I knew it was going to be another bloodbath today. Great segue comment. Great segue comment. But yeah, that's really happening. You have Mike Waltz, who is such a gimp that he's saying, no, you can't do this. Donald Trump went with Laura Loomer. That is the current state. That is the current state of our government. Steve says it's down 1,500 points now. I believe it. I believe it. And folks, this is really happening. When I told you she will have another job tomorrow, let's hope it's for a corporation, because right now, you know, I told you this 2 weeks ago. CNN just got around to it. Exclusive U.S. intel shows Russia and China are attempting to recruit disgruntled federal employees. Yeah, it kind of pisses people off when you just fire them. Kind of damages their loyalty sometimes, you know? Dave McKinney, thanks for the support, my friend. I appreciate you. New supporter, new donor. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's just absolutely freaking mind-blowing that this is going on. This is what Republicans are. They're stupid people with stupid ideas of what smart people are. And they're morons. They're smart people, or the people they think are smart people are morons, but even more, our Republican voters are morons. Skeet's there, new supporter. Thank you for being here. Joseph Goebbels is Stephen Miller. Flynn is Gehring. And this is Gravity. Please vote blue for the rest of your life. Amen. That's what I keep telling people. People are like, Paul, why are you a Democrat? You good old boy out in the country. How can you do that? How can you be a Democrat? Because I'm telling you, when it comes to doing things, the Democrats give a shit. I'm telling you, even when the Democrats screw up, they screw up trying to help you. You know what I mean? The Republicans, it's all about Johnny Got Rocks. All about some billionaire getting some tax cuts. Always, all the time. It's always about their donors. It's always about those private club memberships. It is never about doing the right thing. Never. Never. We got people like Mickey Sherrill. You want to talk about young fighters? Let me tell you something. This is Mickey Sherrill. This is Mickey Sherrill. I love her to death. I love her to death. She is a Democratic congressman from New Jersey's 11th district. She was born in Virginia. She served in the Navy down in my neighborhood, down at Corpus Christi Naval Air Station, down here in Texas. She was badass, man. She was a pilot. She used to fly a Sea King. This is a Sea King. She is a badass. She really is. And she just put a bill before Congress that is just perfect. I mean, you want young fighters? I'm telling you, I keep telling you, the Democrats have a deep bench, a deep bench. And I'm telling you, Mickey Sherrill, I'm going to try everything I can to get her on the show. She is going to be a superstar. You watch. She is smart. She is, I mean, when it comes to just chops, it's not like the Trump administration. I keep telling you, the Trump administration is full of morons. We have a party full of really sharp, smart people like Mickey Sherrill that know what the hell they're doing. She just put a bill forward that's being backed by Democrats. She wants DOJ to drug test. If they're going to be special government employees, SGEs, they need to drug test. Ooh, that ain't going to go over very well, because I guarantee you that a lot of them ain't going to pass, brother. A lot of them ain't going to pass. I love that. I love that. You know who's not telling you about that? The corporate media. The corporate media. I found exactly 2 print articles about that. We have an entire bench of badasses like Mickey Sherrill out there doing it. Just the corporate media won't tell you about it because they're still carrying water for Republicans. Because Republicans give them free programming with all the chaos and all this bullshit. And then they take them out to dinner for steaks and Merlot. I want to talk to you about St. Pierre and Miquelon. St. Pierre and Miquelon. It's a French territory. And they now have the claim to fame of having the largest tariffs ever imposed by the United States on a territory. St. Pierre and Miquelon. I know you never heard of it. Let me explain. It's actually a beautiful place. If you want to go, if you don't have go to Europe money, this is the kind of places there are gyms like this all over North America. There are. It's a French territory. It's right off the coast of Newfoundland. Let me go to the map. Go to the map. This is St. Pierre and Miquelon. This is Newfoundland. See Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Newfoundland. It's this little set of archipelago. It's this archipelago right here. St. Pierre is the capital. And that is a French territory. And they've got a 99% tariff on them right now. I'll give you some idea where that is. Here's the U.S., New York, Maine, Canada, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, all of that. St. Pierre is right up here. And it is a beautiful place, folks. I mean, just stunning. It's got basically small fishing villages. It's got a ton of history. Right after the War of 1812, they broke with the British Empire and became, like I said, that's how they became part of France. Just full of history. And it is just these beautiful, quaint fishing villages that have both French architecture and English architecture, tons of history. And you can go there much cheaper than you can go to Europe. These are what the roads and paths and stuff look like. It is a beautiful place, St. Pierre and Miquelon. Put it on your list, folks. You really want to go there. But we just slam them with tariffs. You know why? Because this administration went to Chat GPT and had AI determine who should get attacked, who should get slapped with a tariff. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. They put out a formula for how they calculated it. And we had a systems engineer said, I recognize that. I know what that is. And he went back and looked at Chat GPT and said, yep, if you ask Chat GPT who should be imposed with a tariff if your goal is to have reciprocal tariffs, that's the formula Chat GPT comes up with. AI. That's what's running our country right now. And it gives us things like St. Pierre and Miquelon getting slapped with a 99% tariff. Folks, let me explain something before I finish up with her. Let me explain something. There's no such thing, real such thing as a trade deficit. There is. Let me explain. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, yeah, there is. Of course there is. We see it all the time. They talk about it. They measure it. There's got to be a real thing. No, it's not. It's a made up metric. Let me explain. You own an island. You're an island nation unto yourself. Amy Poe, thank you. Fight like Cory Booker. Amen. Thank you for the support, Cory. Can't do it without you folks. I'm telling you, I can't. Yes, St. Pierre and Miquelon is a French territory. It is a French territory. Bonnie Walbank was asking, was saying, so they're French, not Canadian. Yes, they're actually French, but they're right off the coast. Like I said, right of Newfoundland, right off the coast. Let's talk about this whole made-up thing that this administration is trying to use as an excuse for these tariffs, and just how galactically stupid this is. Okay, let's say you own a tropical island and you grow pineapples. You know, people like pineapples. People will buy those from you. Okay. You know what it doesn't take a lot of to grow pineapples? Equipment. It really does. It takes a lot of labor, but not much equipment. Not to harvest, not to plant, spraying maybe. But for the most part, you're not going to buy a lot of equipment. So here in the United States, we make equipment. And you're going to buy some of that equipment. But are you going to buy as much equipment as we buy in pineapples every year? No, you're not. Does that mean you're bad? Does that mean you're hurting us? No, you're not. You're just growing a product that everybody loves. Like Nancy White here, she says, I love pineapples. I do too. You're not hurting us. You're not doing anything to us. You're just selling us what we want to buy. We're asking you to do that. But that means you've got a trade deficit with us. And according to this regime who went to Chat GPT, dumb as dog shit AI, that means you are a threat and we gotta attack you. Because in the complete idiocy of this administration, their logic is that every one of your suppliers must also be a customer of yours. Think about that. You run a business. Someone, I don't know, maybe you're cooking pineapples, to stick with the pineapple thing. Maybe you're cooking and canning pineapples. According to this regime's logic that they just used to blow up the world economy, Every one of your customers that provides you tin or labels or pots or whatever has to be a customer of yours buying your pineapples. That makes no sense whatsoever. Yet they're using that as a metric to slap tariffs on people and countries. And it makes no sense. And a glaring example of that is the beautiful St. Pierre and Miquelon. Warren Benson, thanks Texas Paul for lifting lifting us all up with your hard work. Vote Democrats up and down the ballot. Amen, brother. Thank you for being here. Thank you for helping to keep the lights on. Does that make sense? Have I been clear about that? I know sometimes I will talk and I'll think I can hear it clearly in my head. Am I getting that point across to you? That trade deficits are really just kind of a fake metric? They're not really real. They're just people making the shit that you want. And that not everybody that provides you in your business that is a supplier of you can be a customer, a reciprocal customer. It doesn't work that way in the real world. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Jeanette Dahl, there's also an island where there are only penguins. Yeah, that one's been talked about a lot, so I wasn't talking about the Herd Islands. Yeah, what she's talking about here, penguins do what you say to that. Penguins, what do you say to that? Okay, great comment, Jeanette. I appreciate you. Part of our international audience, by the way, there's Danish. Thank you for being here. 50 Danish kroner is a lot of scratch, man. I'm truly grateful. What she's talking about is not just St. Pierre and Miquelon, which I went out of the way to get you an example that hasn't been beat to death in the corporate news. Yeah, they slapped a tariff on a set of islands that has no people. It's just penguins. They've got no exports. Stupidity. They used AI to come up with this. Peter Campbell, we are the last ones that should cry foul. See sugar producers from South Central America in the 1940s and 50s. We did some horrible stuff. God, I love you people. Peter Campbell, great comment. Segue to one of the things we're going to talk about. I'm going to skip this and go straight to that. The complexities of these tariffs. Now you get it. There's no reasoning behind the tariffs they put on. And it's a disaster economically. It's just stupidity. Just stupidity. But it's also incredibly complex and does not do. Simplistically, you think, okay, if you put tariffs on goods coming into your country, then that means local producers and local companies will do better, right? No, it doesn't mean that at all. Y'all are all familiar with the Lent truffles. You know, I should get you a pretty picture of a Lent truffle. I didn't do that. I just got you the article. Let me get you a picture, pretty picture of Lent truffles. Because y'all have seen these. Here, I'll give them a free plug with their bag and everything. I happen to like these things. I do. I really do. Y'all are familiar with these. You see them in all the stores. Lent truffles. Y'all have seen these. They make these in America. It's a foreign company, but they make them in America. Their factory's here. And they're shutting it down because of the tariffs. And I know you're thinking, well, that's counterintuitive. The tariffs, you think having the factory here, that it would be a good thing. No, because they make products they ship all around the world here. And now we have reciprocal tariffs coming right back at us. Everybody's reacting to this. It's now gotten so expensive for them to make Lent truffles here in the United States. They're going to move to Canada. They've started the steps to shut their American factories down and move to Canada. Why? Because everybody loves Canada. Canada gets along with everybody. We're going to lose these jobs. Because it's more complicated than that. You don't need dumbasses. You know, your average dumbass MAGA, these subjects are complex. You don't need it to be on his level. You don't need spectacle government that panders to stupid people. You need smart people that understand these complex situations. They understand. They get it. They know that a company making truffles here, they're going to end up having to shut their factory down because you put tariffs on all of their other customers, and those other customers are going to put tariffs back on us. So you just made their business incredibly expensive. So they're going to move someplace that's not doing this stupid shit. And when I say respond, I mean respond. We talked about China and their original response to when Trump just got elected and did this shit. And China said they're not just slapping tariffs on things. There are some goods, you know, go back to our pineapple analogy. There are some goods we can't get here. We can't mine here. We can't grow here. Germanium and gallium are two of them, and they're incredibly critical. You like your, you know, hey, you like your Bose headset? You like your Bose headset? In the microchips that are in here, there's germanium and gallium. Guess where you can't get that? The United States of America. You know who sells most of it, has most of the reserves for germanium and gallium? China. So did China slap reciprocal tariffs on the United States of America last night? No, they did not. China just said, you figure out how to make electronics without it. That's what China said. Folks, that's why people are talking this morning, saying, you know, hey, you like your nice top of the line iPhone? Well, it just went from being $1,500 to $2,300. You like your base iPhone? It just went from $700 to $1,300. And it's worse than that. Coffee. Ever seen a coffee plantation in the United States of America? Have you? Well, we just slapped tariffs on every company that provides coffee. Every country that provides us coffee just got a tariff slapped on them. What's that going to do to your coffee prices? Tea? I love you folks so much. I know you're not going to know the answer to this. Who has the most tea plantations? What country has the most tea plantations? This is an easy one. I know somebody will get it. The most tea plantations. Couple wrong guesses there. Yes, India. India supplies most of the world's tea. So yeah, coffee with Texas Paul, and some of you folks are drinking tea. All of that just got just massively more expensive. So I want to talk to you as a community for a second. We've had a movement. I don't tell you folks what to do. I don't. I just tell you what I'm doing. Uncle Fatty, thanks for always being here, my friend. Thank you for always supporting the show. I'm truly grateful. Wasn't the Boston Tea Party a revolt against a tariff? Holly Smoot in the 1930s, voodoo economics, tariffs have never worked in America. No, they haven't. And I have to tell you, they're already doing that same shit. You know, this is such a stupid administration. They slapped all these tariffs on everybody. You've got like Letnick and Navarro running around saying, this is not a trade negotiation tactic. This is from now on. And then you've got the top moron out there undercutting their own message saying, oh no, this is totally a negotiating tactic, which means that they're probably going to back off of most of these. like they did the last ones. They're going to lose this trade war the moment they start it, because they're so stupid that they cannot. Oh my God, it's so painful. It is so painful watching this happen. It is so painful watching this happen. I've seen a couple of people mention, yes, chicory. Chicory is added to coffee. It's not really, I dare you to drink just straight brewed chicory. I would love to watch that. Some people are mentioning Hawaii. Yeah, Kona. There are some coffee plantations in Kona, but they cannot replace what we drink every day, not even close. And people can't afford Kona coffee right now, much less, if you're buying Kona coffee, you're doing all right. You're doing all right. Good on you, man. That's some good coffee. I'm telling you, Kona is great coffee. They do not have the ability to replace all of the coffee we import. They just don't. But I want to talk to you as a community. The economic blackouts. I've been all in on it. We were supposed to buy a car to replace my wife's car. We didn't do it. I've been limiting purchases. I've upgraded our computer a little bit. You notice things are running a little bit smoother. But as far as just spending money, we have been very tight. We haven't been going out making any big purchases, anything like that. In the last, and I post it all the time. We go to the grocery store. I love my wife so much. She has taught me how to save money so much. When we go grocery shopping, we go usually to about 3 stores, because we hit those sales catalogs that come out on Wednesday. We figure out what we need, and we've got a map in the town that we're going shopping in, and line it up, and we go from store to store to store, and we buy what's on sale. We do. We're tight. We're miserly. We have even cut down beyond that, because I don't believe in rewarding these oligarchs for destroying. We do not have an HEB mart. Thank you for rubbing salt in that wound. I appreciate it. I have reached out to HEB many times, and no, they are not here in my corner of the woods, and it hurts. I grew up with HEB. If you folks have never shopped in an HEB, I'm sorry. They are great stores. It's a locally owned. Howard E. Butt was where you get HEB from. His family, they're from Corpus Christi, started that grocery store, and it is just a local, homegrown Texas grocery store that is just an amazing chain that has done an amazing job. And no, we don't have one here. But yeah, folks, where I'm going with this is really simple. Really simple. I want you to go spend some money. I do. We're a community. When we talk about an economic blackout, one of the caveats is don't hurt yourself. I have people that contact me, Paul, we're having an economic blackout on the 31st, but I got a doctor's appointment. I've been waiting 6 months. Of course. The caveat is, of course, spend money when you don't have to, to keep from hurting yourself. Folks, these tariffs are going to hurt. Just 3 things off the top of my head: coffee, chocolate, and tomatoes. Think about how many products you buy that have tomatoes in them. We get most of our tomatoes from Mexico. And when they put a tariff on a product, that product doesn't just go up in price the amount of the tariff. It works into legacy costs, financing costs, everything. I'm asking you, yes, yeah, 100%. Great comment. I just saw a great comment uh, from Andrea. Grow a garden. Grow a garden. That's a great idea. That will not get you through the next little while. We're about to see food prices spiking, and soon, these last rounds of tariffs are going to kill us. So I'm asking you, spend some money for yourself and your family. Do a little research. What you buy, everybody's different. What you buy may not be the same as everybody else. But I guarantee you, most of us buy ketchup. Most of us buy spaghetti sauce. Most of us buy, you know what I mean? If you can get it in a can, good. It's kind of hard to stock up on avocados. I keep, avocados is one that, Joan, I appreciate you. Love it. New member of the audience. Great. Glad you're here, Joan. I'm glad you're here. And avocados, yes, they're going to get more expensive. It's really hard to store avocados. Oh yeah, this too. Amy Manuel, Peterbilt, where your husband works, is getting clobbered by tariffs. Yeah, so many companies. So what I'm telling you is, dry goods you can stock up on. If you need a new phone, phones are essential, folks. They are. It's not entertainment. Phones are essential. If you need a new phone, I would tell you, get it before the tariffs hit. They're going to get much more. As a community, we got to love each other. We got to take care of each other. Yes, economic boycotts are the best form of protest against this regime, but we got to take care of each other first. How do you feel about that? We got a few minutes left for a round table. How do you feel about that? What's more important, economic protest, or hey, let's just have a little spending over the next. I want you to take a little time. This is what I'm telling you. I hope you do. I hope you take a little time, take a look at what you buy, what you eat. I'm going shopping after this show. I am. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go buy some tomato products. I'm going to go buy some. We've already done. My wife is so goddamn smart. She is. She is so smart. She's already assessed what we spend on what and what's going to get killed by the tariffs. And we're going to go stock up on it right now and put it in the pantry. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. How do y'all feel about it? Am I betraying the cause? Are we betraying the cause if we do that, or do you think it's a good idea? And do you know, can you tell other people in the community, you folks in the live chat, you're so well informed, some of the things that people should probably get now, because I'm telling you, Republicans are idiots. We just had a Republican telling people, well, you know what? It's not going to hurt anybody because you can buy a Pennsylvania water instead of Fiji water, and you won't get hurt. Fiji is owned by an American company. It's not foreign. It's just got a foreign name. But these Republican morons don't know anything. The people running our country, we cannot rely on for anything. We've got storms coming in. FEMA's not, don't rely on FEMA, people. Don't. I'm genuinely concerned and worried about you. I know a lot of folks reach out to me all the time. I mean, you're living check to check on Social Security. You're living check to check on your income. Most folks aren't going to be able to afford this 15 to 45% hit on your grocery bill and all of your other expenditures. I'm telling you, if you can, take care of it now. Stock up a little bit. I'm going to sit here quietly and read your comments for a second. I am learning something new right now. I did not know this. Mrs. Texas Paul never taught me that. I didn't know you could freeze guacamole. I didn't know you could freeze guac. I thought it turned brown and ugly. Kimber, you're not alone. You're not alone, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of folks in our community that are exactly right there. And I'm just truly, genuinely afraid for people right now. And I think that we should be proactive. Anything that you can think of that we know are going to get hurt. I mean, cocoa, if it's a chocolate product, this is going to blow your mind. I played this game with Mrs. Texas Paul earlier. Who do you think we buy the most chocolate products from? What country do you think we buy the most chocolate products from? I guarantee you 90% of you aren't going to be able to guess this. And I'm going to take Mexico right off right now. They're number 2. Somebody just said cocoa's from Africa. Totally agree. But we're talking about chocolate products, not just cocoa. Yeah, I'm seeing all the ones that people were guessing. I knew somebody would know. I knew somebody would know. Some people are guessing Belgium. Some are guessing Brazil. Some are guessing Switzerland. It's all great guesses, all great guesses. But Liz is the first one across the plate with the right answer. Canada. Canada. We import most of our chocolate from Canada because companies have, because of the free trade agreement that this guy negotiated to get around the sugar tariffs, international companies moved to Canada to manufacture in Canada so that they would be umbrellaed under the free trade agreement. That's all got tariffs slapped on it now. Anything with chocolate in it just got way more expensive. Anything with vanilla in it just got way more expensive. But yeah, I please take my word for it. Verify what I'm about to tell you. If you see a country got hit with 25% tariffs, that doesn't mean the goods coming out of their country just got 25% more expensive. It is way more than that. It is way more than that. It would be more like 45 to 50% more expensive. They don't just raise the prices by what they're being charged in the tariffs. You've got legacy costs, you've got capital surcharges, you've got all kinds of things that go into that number. It will be more than the bottom line number of that tariff. So pretty please, people, I love you folks. I don't want anybody hurt, especially if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Let's be smart. Nobody's making recommendations for good things to buy. So I'm just going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed the show today. Thank you for all the support, folks. I mean it. I say it all the time out of pure gratitude, out of my heart. Cannot do it without you. I could not focus on this full time without you supporting the show. All of you new contributors, thank you for being here. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button so we can get as many people as possible to see this. Put good information out there. And do not give up hope. Do not give up hope. We got guys like Kendall Scudder coming out. Guns blazing, man. The fight is on. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.